Welcome, everyone. This is Amanda Forrester with the Roanoke Regional Small Business Development Center. It is 1 o'clock, so we are going to get started. In all transparency, we are working remotely, and we're just going to keep our fingers crossed today that my puppies don't start barking. Otherwise, it's just me here. I hope that everyone can hear me okay. It would be very helpful if you could open your chat screen, and if someone can just let me know, one, that you can hear me, and two, that you can see my screen. Just kind of give me a yes if you can, just to make sure we're all working and on the same page here. Okay, perfect. Looks like everything is good. And here in a moment, I'm going to cut my camera on as well as soon as I stop sharing my screen so that we can talk to each other and answer your questions. I'm going to go through just some basic general information about both of the loans that have received additional funding. They're not open yet, again, but we do know that that's being worked on today. And so we want to go ahead and share, again, what we know about them. And then at the end of that, certainly would like to answer any questions that you have, or at least try to answer them, right? We're all learning together. Next week, we have a couple of other Zoom sessions that you might want to jump on if you already have a loan or know that you're getting, maybe you don't have the money yet, but you are approved and you have the money coming. We're going to do some sessions to make sure that you understand how to use that and how to track those funds for forgiveness in some cases. So join us next week for that. But today, let me get started with just some of the basic general information. And I want to start by saying thank you to all of our small businesses. You guys are the heart of our community, and we know that you're under an immense amount of pressure right now. And we just support you, and we're advocating for you and want to see you succeed. And if we can help you in any way outside of these Zoom sessions, please reach out to us. We have a plethora of resources on our website, and we also have plenty of advisors ready to assist you one-on-one if you have unique circumstances or just need some additional discussion. And today we actually launched our volunteer program where we have some subject matter experts available for you if you want to meet with them. So I've got our website listed at the bottom of the page that you can see here. It's roanokesmallbusiness.org. And if you go to our COVID-19 resources, you'll see everything there. We also have an advising page that you can visit. But for those of you guys new to the SBDC or the Small Business Development Center, we offer pro bono advising, and we do low-cost training, often free. And then we also develop tools to fuel your business success. We like to think of ourselves as helping you turn your big ideas into bigger bottom lines, whether you're starting a business, growing a business, expanding, or even when it's time to exit. And today our focus, and really right now, almost all of our focus is on recovery efforts, which is something that we do along with the Small Business Administration. And that's what we're here today to talk about. So let's move through the presentation. There are two loans that I'm going to talk to you about today that we all have been hearing about. One is the Paycheck Protection Program, otherwise known as PPP. So we're going to talk through that. And as well, we're going to talk about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan that is a direct loan from the SBA. And you'll also hear that referred to as an EIDL or an EIDL loan. Okay, so those are just acronyms. We can't have government without acronyms. So those are the ones that you can kind of listen out for, and they mean the same thing. I'm going to walk you first through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan because it's the most simplest, straight to the point option there is, and I just want to take you through that process so that you understand what the loan is for and how to use it. I want to be transparent today to let you know that as the bill passes through the House, I don't have the specifics of this next round. We can see the same thing that you guys can see through legislation, but we are a little preemptive and rolling this webinar session out because I don't have specifics, but I do know what the loan is about and how to use it and what to do to go about to get it. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And this specific loan does come direct through the SBA, and it's designed to provide relief for business expenses that you otherwise would be able to pay if you weren't in this situation, whether you're closed or just your revenues have dropped. Either way, you have expenses that have to be paid whether you're open or not, and this loan can help you take care of those. You do have to be a small business to qualify, and those size standards are on the SBA website. It's sba.gov/size. But I know many of you on here today that are here with me, I've seen a lot of you guys email with us before, and I think everyone here is a small business, so not too much to worry about there. But if you need to check that, there are size. It's not all about employees. We have some companies that might have 4 or 5 employees, but they have 20 million in revenue. Maybe they're a technology company, which would exclude them as being a small business. So just something to think about. But again, for today's purpose, I think everyone on our call would qualify for this. As well, our self-employed individuals and 1099 independent contractors can apply for this loan, as well as private nonprofit organizations, including religious organizations. Those private nonprofit organizations are really nonprofits who don't accept donations or funding to provide their services. So that's what a private nonprofit is. You're ineligible if you have, community type services, like I said, that you gain funding to do, educational foundations and things like that require on those donations to carry out their programs. And then if there's gambling concerns, those also are not eligible. At least they were not in the last release. Again, people have asked about this. I believe the president stated he was going to look into that. But as far as I know, that still is the case, that they are not eligible. So how do you get the loan? What are they looking at when you apply? And like most loans, they are looking at your credit history. The really cool thing about the SBA is oftentimes you can get a business loan from them with a less than acceptable credit history that a bank might require. I don't know what that exact number is, but we do understand from the SBA that they like a score of 600 or more. We have seen them give loans to people or businesses that have a lower credit score than that. What they're really looking at is, are you going to repay the loan? So if you have things on your credit history where you haven't paid or you've been delinquent on other loans or credit, they're going to be looking more heavily at that than anything else that might be on your credit report. They are looking for your ability to repay, which just really means they're going to look at your past revenue to make sure that once you're fully functioning, are you going to be able to repay the loan? Obviously, they're taking a risk here, as well as you are. You don't know what your revenues are going to be like in the future, but they're going to base it on what your revenues were and whether that leaves you with the ability to repay. And then this last little bit really isn't applicable for us anymore. It was in the beginning, but you just need to be physically located in a declared county. We are declared, everyone in our region, everyone in the state is declared, so you don't have to worry too much about that. When these first began, Virginia had to wait. We were waiting to be declared, and so there was a time frame there, but now everyone is eligible to apply. And so how much can you borrow? You can qualify for loan amounts of up to $2 million. Certainly we know that now they have put caps on that because of just the demand for funding. I'm not ready to share. I don't know specifically what that's going to be with this new release, but certainly as legislation comes out, we will share it with you to make sure that it's accurate and you know what that is. The really cool part about this loan that's actually fairly new, it did not start out this way, but when you apply for the loan, you're going to have the opportunity to check that you're interested in receiving a loan advance that will be forgiven in its entirety. And there's been some confusion around this because it is up to $10,000. And sometimes we don't like to read the up to, right? Like we like $10,000. Yes, that would be so incredibly helpful. But the way that they calculate that loan advance is $1,000 per full-time employee that you report in your loan application. So if there's just you, that's $1,000. If you have you plus 3 employees, that's 4,000, and that's how that calculation, to our understanding, is working. And we do know folks who have applied for this and have now received that loan advance, which we're very excited about. That just started happening recently. The interest rates on the loan is 3.75% for our small businesses and 2.75% for our nonprofit organizations. I do believe that this will remain the same, but again, it could change with the new legislation. But as we know it, it's 3.75% for small businesses, and with terms up to 30 years. This is incredible. I've owned several businesses and never had rates or terms like available like this. I mean, this is not even typical with the SBA. So we're very excited about the opportunity for a 30-year term, which would allow you just much lower monthly payments. Super excited about that. In addition, your first payment is deferred for basically a year. So your first payment is not due for 12 months after the loan is issued. So great relief to you. Interest does start accruing at the beginning of the loan, and you can make payments once you're able to. But if you need to defer it up to that 12 months, you will have that option. So use of these funds, like I said before, they're meant to pay your expenses. And so they're considered working capital loans that can pay fixed debts, your payroll, and we'll talk about how that differs from the Payroll Protection Program, accounts payable, and other bills that you normally would be able to pay. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's your expenses that you're paying out of your business every month. That's what this loan needs to be used for. It is not meant for business expansion. So the money, say you want to take the opportunity to have a loan and you're going to build onto your building, or you're going to expand into a new location. That's not what these funds are for. They're specifically to help you stay afloat right now. So keep that in mind. So what are the collateral requirements? We're really pleased that if you borrowed $25,000 or under, there is no collateral required. If you borrow more than $25,000, the SBA does like to secure real estate. They don't have to take first or even second or even third place. They can take any place that's available. Now, we know that a lot of our small businesses do not have real estate available, commercial or personal, and that's okay too. The SBA will work with you to figure out what's available, and you may have to pledge that, which often can mean, let's say, you don't have any commercial property that would be useful for collateral. You don't have equipment, you don't have a building, you're renting or you're working from home. You may have to pledge a home, a car, any type of collateral that you could possibly pledge, which just means you're giving, you're pledging that if you're not able to repay the loan, that collateral is or can be used to pay the loan. I don't have specifics around that, and you'll be able to go through that process when you go through the loan process once the loan officer calls you to work through that. But just know that I don't want you to stress about where's the collateral going to come from. The SBA is going to work with you on that and work out something that is beneficial for both of you. So just a little bit about this particular loan. It's Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Again, you'll see it as EIDL or EIDL, you'll hear people saying. And these funds are coming direct from the U.S. Treasury. They're not going through a bank. So you do have to apply for the loan through the SBA. And I have a website linked down here. It's covid19relief.sba.gov. That does still take you to this loan page. Obviously, the application is not available right now because the funds have not been released, but that's where we anticipate that happening once it does. If that link is no longer valid, we know that stuff is moving around on the website as things change. SBA.gov is the main website, and for sure you'll be able to navigate to this. They have a great website set up, and you know, even myself, I just go to SBA.gov and navigate to where I need to go. I typically don't keep track of all the other links, but it's there if you need it, and hopefully that will remain the same. There is no cost to apply for this loan, so there's no fees or anything like that. You apply, you go through the underwriting process, and you close, no fees. If you are approved for a loan and you're made a loan offer, you don't have to accept it. And I want to pause there and let you think about that. I'm certainly not here as an attorney to give you advice, but remember, in the application, you can check the box that you would like a loan advance that is forgiven, right? That comes to you before your application for the loan goes through the underwriting process and you're made an offer. So you can go through that process, get the loan advance, and if you decide that you don't need the loan, or you've just changed your mind, or you know the underwriting process has taken 4 weeks and you're back up and running and up to speed and don't want to take the loan, you can decline it. Again, the maximum unsecured loan amount is $25,000. You can borrow up to $25,000 with no talk of collateral. This probably doesn't or isn't applicable to most of you, but if you do have another SBA disaster loan for your business, you can still qualify for this loan, okay? And that usually isn't the case, but in this case, if you have a disaster loan that you're paying on, you can still qualify for this loan. The loans aren't consolidated, they are kept separate, but you are eligible to apply. So when funds are released, we know, or at least my feeling is that we still don't have enough. And so they are going to go quickly, just like they did before. So just, you know, pay attention to the news, pay attention to when the funds are released, and try to get your application in as soon as possible. We know that, you know, the systems are stressed by all means, and it gets hung up and you can't get on, and there's lots of different issues there, and there would be with any system. Have patience with it and just keep trying, okay? And that's just going to be my advice for that. I don't know what that's going to look like when it happens, but certainly the last time everyone rushed to do it, and there were some system issues for the first few days. If you are offered a loan and you take it, and 3 months from now, you realize that it is not going to be near enough to sustain you, you can go back and request more funds be added to that loan. So rather than taking out another loan, you can go back and request more funds. There's not a process in place for that yet because we're not there, but once you have a loan, it'll